All right, I'm the flat rate master, and how's everybody doing tonight? Well, I just got notified. Renegade, what's going on? All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening, Greg. Moose, what's going on? Corey, thanks. Yes, I got a haircut. James, how's retirement so far? It's pretty damn good. I'm doing well. Lexi, how you doing? I'm doing good. Scofflow, what's going on? What's going on, family towing? The hair. Everybody gets a kick out of the hair. Mando, the job market's looking fine. Jash, no. Val, how's it going? Jash, no, I did not fix my daughter's car in the driveway. Hyundai replaced the engine under the recall in 3 days. Thanks, Val. I appreciate it. You know, Corey, SNA Auto, what are the plans for immediate and long-term future? I'm going to work and do YouTube. Same stuff I've been doing. Eventually, you know, retire and die. Quick Wrench, how you doing? Mudhead, yeah. Change your oil. Cheapest thing you can do. James Jones, yeah, I know. They when I initially talked to them, they're like 2 weeks for diagnosis, up to 6 months to replace the engine. I mean, not much I can do. And they called me Monday, said they diagnosed it. It's been approved by Hyundai. And they put it in and called me Wednesday and said it was ready. Me and my daughter went and picked it up and drove back, and it's got a brand new long block in it. Or actually, not a long block, a complete engine, oil pan to valve cover. But it's a recall, so family towing. Have you thought about going out on your own? I don't have there's just very little places you can open a shop around Atlanta, so it's not likely. Brisket Profit, possibly get a job outside of the shop. Anything is possible. If the right opportunity comes along, I'll take it. Let me see. Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry, I can't. Um, Moose asked if I could turn the closed captionings on. I will next stream. But it's currently off, and I can't turn it on with the stream going live. Sorry, Moose. Corey showed a colleague how to recover a BMW football FRM. Fun. Cars Exposed, good evening. How's the UK? Yeah, James, it was incredibly fast. I was not expecting anywhere close to that quick. Now I've talking with Hyundai techs, they can do 2 to 3 a day. So they're pretty good at it because they do a lot of them. Mark Hodge, oil fields. I'm in Georgia, so I'm not moving. So yeah, sorry, Moose, I can't do it while it's on. I'll go into the settings and turn it on. Ian's Archive Center, weird question, but I thought I'd ask. If a tech quit and left his tool, would they become property of the shop? Legally, I don't know. It would have to be, if they were in his toolbox, I think they would still be considered his. But reasonable storage costs, you could, petition the court to consider it abandoned at some point, but I don't know the exact laws. Jash, no. Rod bearing recall. Yeah. It started making some bad noises when my daughter was driving in, set the Hyundai death code. Yeah, brisket profit. Yeah, everything I've heard, they can crank those engines. I mean, 2 to 3 a day. Oh, Mark says you don't have to move 30 to 75-hour shifts, I'm sure, and then put you up in a room and have a rotation. Traveling with my family situation wouldn't be an option either. GIE Auto, does Bam Bam have a similar Rebel wall as you? No, he does not. He used to have a triple bank snap-on. He traded that in for a used Matco top and bottom with 2 lockers. Actually, it's top and bottom with a locker on top, but it's an older one. And Aaron bought his red snap-on, which is just an old Master Series. Mark Hodge goes, I live in Oklahoma, work in North Dakota. Cool. Lambo for real says, I worked at Hyundai, and this is true. Did 5 this week. Yeah. Well, Lambo, answer Spence the doctor on what they pay, because I don't know off the top of my head what warranty is on those, but he says they cut the warranty labor down on making those engines. So Honda Doc, what's going on? Yeah, James said, I know my buddy had someone quit and leave their tools. He also had an outstanding bill with the shop, so they auctioned his stuff off in the shop. If he owes money, they can technically, they're probably somewhat within their rights to sell his stuff. Jolly Roger asks, when shops recommend, let's say, a brake job, do they ask the customer if they want cheap, mid-grade, or high-quality parts? Some shops do. Some shops have, like a lot of the chain stores have good, better, and best. A lot of more premium shops do not. They don't offer those options simply because it's not their clientele, but it's 100% up to the shop and what they do. Cars exposed, all good. UK has been pretty hot, perfect weather for a holiday. It's actually been relatively cool here, which is surprising. Renegade says, torque that like button. I appreciate that. Lambo says 5 to 7 hours, depending on if it's front wheel drive or all wheel drive. They used to pay 8.5. Yeah, that's a little bit of a cut. Spence the Doctor says it's hot in Vancouver, up in Canada. How to auto repair? What's up? Having me a little Coke Zero, not a sponsor. Yeah, Mark Hodge says he was swinging 3 a day. They cut motors from 8 hours to 5 hours. Brisket Profit, what scan tools do you personally own? I have a OTC, a Bosch ADS 625. I've got a Snap-on Veris Edge. Got X Tools. I've got Launch. Old Snap-on red brick somewhere in my garage somewhere. How to auto repair. Love the setup in that room. Thanks. That's my editing PC. That's where I edit videos. I got a gaming PC that I'm, streaming on. How to auto repair asks, man, that's the biggest question being that I was a dealer tech. Now I need a scanner. It's a hard choice. What kind of cars do you work on? That's the first question. If you're, depending on what kind of cars you work on, there's some options that are slightly better than others. My default answer though is Launch. Right now I think that's the best choice. I like Autel software, X-Tool software, same kind of more or less software, just kind of a little different interface. But my problem with their scan tools is the hardware. They put them on really cheap tablets that don't tend to last. And that's my biggest problem. It's not a software issue. Hondas use OEM fluid only. Jay Angus says Honda 6-speed transmission perform better with Honda ATF than with alternate fluid. Absolutely do. Do not use use OEM only in Honda transmissions. How to auto repair AES wave cells launch, I believe. Spence the Doctor, I prefer Snap-on over Autel. Snap-on's interface is a lot easier to use. Everything on their tool generally works, but it will leave you hanging with a lot of stuff. Topton's Launch, so it's just as good. Yeah, quick wrench tool says I like the newer Think car and Topton. Yeah. Thomas Marquez, ever think about working for a fleet like an in-house shop working on company vehicles, paid by the shop, paid by the hour, and plus overtime and good benefits, get out of working for the public? What I did, and I'm a lot happier. Anything is possible. Risk at profit. I have an Autel MP 808TS, thinking about upgrading to something else, mainly all systems code check and mild bidirectional testing, mostly Asian and domestic. That tool right there. The Launch X431 Turbo, great tool. Does everything the bigger tool does, except it doesn't do the add-ons. But you could use that daily for everything, but you can't add a scope to it. You can't do any of the ADAS stuff with it, but definitely that is what I would use or what I would recommend. About time that hair got cut. All right, so let me tell you the story about my hair, since everybody obsesses about my hair. That was AM that commented. My entire life, the only two people that can properly cut my hair has been my mother, who was a hairdressing instructor, and my wife, who used to be a hairdresser. She, got a degree and all that and moved on. But that's the only two people that can't cut that can cut my hair without screwing it up. My mom has passed away, so that's not an option. But every time I've gone and got paid somebody to cut my hair, they have royally screwed it up to the point where I've had to have my wife fix it. So the only time I can get my hair cut is when my son gets his hair cut, and my son has long hair and a full beard and doesn't get his hair cut much. So, well, I don't get my hair cut much, but he had graduation last week. Thursday, not graduation, but he was getting an award at graduation for the senior class. So we went to that, and he got a haircut, and I got a haircut. That's why I got a haircut. Death by Debt traded leftover building materials at Lowe's today for 5 made in China vice grips and the 3-pound anti-vibe E-swing. Well, at least the E-swing would be probably pretty good. I have a 2-year-old 909 Autel that's been great. Yeah, until the tablet starts going bad. I've had both of my tablets. The batteries have died on me before the life of the tool was really up. Miss Carol, longtime follower, first time live, welcome in. G Hectic, I'm in the process of getting switched from a flat rate tech to a foreman position. I was producing 80 to 100 hours a week. Do you think I should be compensated at the same amount as those hours? More. You're adding more duties to your life. You're going to be putting out a lot of fires. I'm guessing you're going hourly or something like that. So you should actually be compensated more. So I would definitely be asking for more. Mark Hodge goes, Cox is looking for mechanics in Georgia. Pay is okay. Benefits are to die for. Cox Broadcasting. Got to be a little more specific about that. Miss Carol says, sup to the people that know me. Jolly Roger asks, understanding new tech grads need reps and experience, but what advice would you give the tech schools on what courses need to laser focus on? Electrical circuit diagnosis. You can't understand electrical circuits, how transistors, pull up, pull down circuits. You're not going to be able to diagnose much in cars anymore. You need to be able to understand the little electrons. So that's what they really, really, really need to focus on instead of teaching points. Yeah, G Hectic, that is something that he says I'm producing less now due to the fact that I'm helping the other techs. Exactly. You will. Being a shop foreman, you get pulled off your tickets all the time. You're sitting there helping a guy get a broken bolt out of an engine. You're doing this, you're doing that. You're helping them diagnose stuff. That's why you need to get paid more. The How to Auto Repair goes, Topton has a topology, which is cool. Yeah, so does the Launch. The bigger Autels have it. I really do like that. Death by Debt. Cox is a popular name in Georgia. Had a Cox coworker from Georgia in the Navy. There's a bunch of companies named Cox. And hopefully that doesn't demonetize me. Valamilk says, I tried to talking Chad into letting me cut his hair. No trust. I'm gonna leave that alone. Again, my wife used to cut hair, so, and like I said, the kicker is my hair is not hard to cut. It's not a hard hard thing to cut. If it was, literally you put my head in front of me, I could cut my hair. So, but every time I've paid somebody to cut, they screwed it up. Alejandro Martinez, how's the job hunt going? I've got job offers. Ohm's Law. Yeah. I mean, that Miss Carol goes Ohm's Law. Yeah. All of that kind of stuff needs to be drilled into their heads. VTech chair, FRM, do you like working at dealership or independent shop more? I passed at a bunch of dealership opportunities because I like the variety at independent shops. Exactly. Doing the same thing gets very old for me very fast. Doing the same job. Yeah, you get fast at it, but mind-numbing boring. Gordon Freeman says, I believe foremans need to be paid a salary. It's, it depends on their workload and what they're expected. If you're managing 50 techs, God, yes, because you're not going to turn wrenches. Zarko, what's going on? Scotty Frazier, what's up? I'm doing good. How you doing? Brisket Profit, yes. Yeah, it has topology. Brisket Profit was asking, does the launch you recommend have topology on it? Yes, it does. Valamilk, my only hair cutting experience is cutting the dog's hair. She didn't have any complaints. Did Chad have complaints after you cut the dog's hair? JWC Tech, looking at the new launch X431 Elite Pro 3S Plus Bluetooth bidirectional scan tool with topology is the one I've been looking at into. Love my Verus Edge, but more scan tools the better. Yes. No matter what brand you go with, it will let you down. Even I've said this before, even OEM tools will let you down. OEM tools less likely to let you down, and usually it's a bug that lets you down, but not, you just have to wait for the next update, but you're going to get let down by every manufacturer's scan tool on the planet. Scotty, taking my ASE A2 and retaking my A6 in August, attending a songwriters retreat the same month. Feeling good about the auto trans test. I mean, I haven't. All I've been doing is the retakes. I mean, not the retakes, but the research. So I haven't found them too hard, but they were literally only the research. Jolly Roger, what's your opinion on road force balancing? Is it overkill? In most cases, yes. But it can really help you find bad tires. That's really where it comes in handy. Especially if you're using a lot of cheap Chinese tires and you're having repeat returns on vibration complaints and stuff like that, you'll prove that you've got a bad casting. That's really where it comes in handy. How to auto repair. My shop has 2 team leads and they make more than I think they were worth. That's up to the people that pay them. Milk. Yes, he had a few complaints. I accidentally cut a bald spot and she got a sunburn. Well, girl, as much as you hike, not surprising she got a sunburn. Gordon Freeman, Toyota's and scan tool, tech stream lets everybody down because it's too slow. Yes. Alexi Finnis, any experience working on the hybrid police cars? No. I've worked on some hybrids. I've worked on police cars. I've never worked on a hybrid police car. Miss Carol, I'm still working on carburetors. Yeah, I stopped doing that. I found with carburetors, people that drive carbureted cars usually drive fuel injected cars, and they don't know how carburetors are really going to operate, and they expect it to drive like a fuel injected car. How to auto repair. Have you ever thought of working for yourself at home? Well, currently I do. You know, content creator. I'm at home. But if you mean working on cars in my driveway, no, not an option. My driveway, one, goes like this. Two, I've got a bunch of cars already in my driveway if my family's home, and my homeowners association would have a cow if I try to do that. Not to mention the city and the county and all that. Brake flush merchant, do you do EPROMs? I do not do EPROMs. Thought about getting into doing virginizing and that kind of stuff. But getting into soldering stuff like that, I'm too wobbly for that. My eyesight's not good enough, even with a microscope and all that. Not going to happen. Oh God, Miss Carol, it's feedback carburetors. Ugh. Ugh. I hate those things. Yeah, I was a technician when those were breaking. Feedback carburetors. Oh, hated those things. Zachary McLean, EPROM and module cloning is a money pit with too much competition and too low prices. EPROM I never really considered. Module cloning, maybe, but yeah, I mean, I agree. Miss Carol, I burned EPROMs while doing a GM TBI conversion to a Jeep. That's cool. Jolly Roger, referencing tire repair. What's your opinion of shops simply plugging the repair externally without removing the tire? No tire manufacturer anywhere approves an external repair of a tire. It is a temporary fix. The correct repair is take the tire off the rim, put an internal patch in it with a plug. So, a patch plug. So you patch the hole and you pull a plug through. Mark Hodge, I still have the tools for feedback carburetors. Ugh. Alexander Guzman, I hate this business. I mean, there's pretty much, you can hate any kind of business. It doesn't matter what you do. There's things you'll hate about any kind of business you get into. Power Stroke Judah, I appreciate it. Appreciate the haircut comment. Power Stroke, I didn't know you watched my channel. GIE Auto, True Pain was the Ford VV carb. I don't know that carb specifically, but if it was, back then, ugh. Zachary McLean, I just had a 2016 Land Rover LR4 today with a no crank, no start commission. I'm pretty confident it had a corrupted BCM. That's a job where Ecrom could make some money. Probably. I think, didn't Mario do a post about a similar condition? I don't remember exactly, but I know it was a Land Rover. Devin McCown. All right, what came with feedback carburetors? Before my time, learn me a thing. It was very, very, very primitive electronics in a carburetor with vacuum actuators and, again, very, very primitive electronics that died. The car wouldn't run. The car wouldn't start. They did all sorts of weird things. Just horrible. So Brick Flush Merchant, do you think flat rate will go away in the future? Who knows? You know, it's all about whether or not people are willing to take it and or are happy with it or whatever. I mean, for me, working it at a busy normal shop, that's the best way to make the most money, for in my opinion. Zachary McLean, I've got job offers. Yeah, Zach, I got job offers. If I want to go to work right now, I could. Mark Hodge, wondering if, like me, does anyone have a useless tool drawer? I've got useless tools in storage. Yes, I've got useless tools spread in my toolboxes. You know, Zach goes, I think Mario recovered either a KVM or BCM, but yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure kind of the same case. Now, how to auto repair. Only thing I miss about working is in a shop. I felt like my own boss. Now I work at a different field and feel like a smuck and have to work with lazy people. Yeah, I had a friend. He passed away, but he went to work for the post office in their in their repair facility, and he was like, "How can these people move this slow?" So I feel you on that. I'm trying to find. I'm missing something there. Miss Kara, didn't mean to dive to the old tech, but I love carbs personally. I don't have a problem with carbs. 9 times out of 10, I mean, I could, uh, 9 times out of 10, I could tune a carb. I used to, at least. Haven't touched one in a long time, but I used to be able to tune them basically perfect, as good as they were ever going to get, and it still wasn't good enough. You know, they expected to hop in the car, turn the key, and it would fire right up, even though it was a carburetor. Got to close the choke, etc. And they couldn't understand that kind of stuff. You don't know feedback unless you worked on a Carbtronic. Turbo, what mid-range tool brand would you recommend for wrenches? The Megadora are really good. They're relatively affordable. They're a little thin. The Proto stuff is usually pretty affordable. Gear wrench is usually decent. Rob Car Stuff, where did I get this t-shirt? That would be gamers store.gamersnexus.net. I bought it off of Gamers Nexus. That's a Gamers Nexus mod mat. I don't know if they still have this shirt, but it's where I got it. Never worked on an AMC Carter, but I've worked on a Chrysler Carters. Oof. What's a good battery tester in your opinion? The Autel one I did a video on is really good. Just make sure you turn it off after every use because the battery will go dead. Search Autel battery tester, or if you've got a launch scan tool that has the capability to add the launch Bluetooth tester, that'll work with your phone. That's also really good. testing them comparatively, they give you basically the same results. So either one of those options will be really good. Power Stroke, Jude, I appreciate the join. Appreciate it. Thanks for the membership. James Jones, that's what I was talking about. That was my mostly go-to battery tester, was the Autel one. Pretty much just grabbed it and tested, just because it was easier than going through the menu on the launch and getting it hooked up. And I mean, it automatically hooked up, but it was usually my launch was being used. So, so let's see what else. So, Jolly Roger, what's the best way for shops to avoid divert away bad customers? Cheapo types, don't advertise for them. The best way is to not advertise for them. Don't do oil change specials. Don't do discount coupons. Any of that other stuff. Brisket Profit. Do you still have another channel? Yes, I did. I've done a video last week about I have another channel. I do computer kind of stuff. I did a update on my TrueNAS scale deployment, which did not go well. I explain about why it didn't go well, but it's Creator hardware. Zach, we need to have a rule about not taking in cars after a certain year. Working on old cars is an efficiency sink. Yes, it is. I was the one that basically had that convinced the old shop owner that I used to work at to cut off at a date, because yes, waiting a month for parts, or you pull it in, there's this problem, you go to fix that problem, all of a sudden there's a new problem, you fix the brakes, all of a sudden the, worn out radiator hose blows out and they're screaming up front because their radiator hose broke out and we're just ripping them off. So yeah, they're just horrible as far as efficiency when it comes to bringing in older cars. They don't work out. Richard Schneiderman, manual chokes were very reliable, actually. They always worked until the cable broke. But yes, manual chokes were the best. Tecton, yeah. Tectons are good wrenches as well. How to Auto Repair has said that. Pretty sure the gear wrench and Tecton are made in the same plant. Oscar Lopez, this industry is hard on us. I'm glad I got out 2 months ago. Since then, the shop has gone from 40 to 12 techs. With that being said, you're looking great without all the added stress. Yeah. Hey, so Roscoe 511, do you still talk to Bam Bam? I have actually not talked to him. I haven't, honestly. I've talked to everybody. When the last day I was there picking up my tools. So Eric made a comment. Eric, that used to work at the shop, fills in every now and then. He made a comment in my last live stream. He missed it. Aaron's been in the stream. So, but other than that, I haven't really talked to anybody at the shop since then, other than Aaron being on the stream. Power Stroke Jude, we work on a ton of carburetors at our shop. Our shop is the only shop in the area that does, I think. Very few shops work on carburetors anymore. I think the one carburetor shop in Atlanta that rebuilt them went out of business. Yeah, Zach, the BT Mobile, that's the one I was talking about. They're both launch based. It works if you download the app, it'll work on your phone too. I know there's an Android app, and I think there's a iOS app. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I tested it and it tests identical to the launch tool, the Midtronics, to the Autel. They all pretty much spit out the exact same results. Uh, Alexander Guzman, how much things have you bought from the ice cream truck, aka the tool truck, that you regret when? Um, most times, not a lot. I talked about a kingpin press I bought off Snap-on. That was a waste of money. I still have a Snap-on vise that was stupid to buy. But that was also pre-internet, so you couldn't just go on, online and buy it. It still has never been mounted. But I still own a Snap-on vise, the biggest one they made at the time. Those probably the two biggest regrets. There's smaller stuff I bought, I'm sure, that I don't, think was a good buy, but brake flush, go back, ISO Roscoe 511 working on Euros though. Hell no. I'll take Euros. As long as they're good Euro customers. They're black ice type customers, no. Because you won't make any money just like older POSs. MT, I've had offers. I haven't taken anything yet. Brake flush merchant, do you think EVs will decrease work for a mechanics technician? No, it's just going to change. You're going to be doing a lot more cooling system repairs, with pumps going out. Excuse me a second. Not a sponsor. It's just going to change. You're just going to start doing batteries. You're going to do motors. You're just going to change what you do. A lot less oil changes. Tires are going to be, more often, etc. Zach, the secret of doing diesel, Euro, anything else uncommon is to be tooled up and trained. Also charge more for those applications because they cost you time and they're bigger headaches. Yep. Sherrod Ford says no, it won't. It will increase more technicians. Power Stroke Jude, I'm not a big fan of Tecton tools that I have. I don't have a lot of Tecton tools, but I haven't had anything really that was out of the ordinary. When I tested their wrench, it tested identical to the gear wrench. Joe Mama, I rebuilt a Quadrajet on the side of the road. Quadrajets were my jam back in the day. I didn't see a lot of Hollies, but I saw a lot of Quadrajets. How to Automotive, Brian, what's going on? On your way home. Ooh, traffic. Kick her out of the car, the noise will go away. ISO Roscoe. It's an old joke. I saw that meme on Facebook today, actually. Timothy Lloyd, can you describe your feelings on mentoring newer techs that want to learn versus those that are just because they have to be? I will do everything I can to help that new tech that wants to learn. The tech that doesn't want to learn is just there because they have to have a job. I'm gonna put as much effort in it as they do. Just gonna get them away from me. Go fix the car, get out of my face, move on. The guy that wants to learn, I'm gonna do everything I can to teach him. Joe Mama, I meant I disassembled, cleaned, and reassembled a car yesterday. Well, yeah, you got to do that a lot. Did you use the bucket of goop that every shop had to clean carburetors? the practical mechanic. I thought you only drank Bang. That's Luber Goober, Chad. No, actually, honestly, Bang tastes good. The flavors I've had, but drinking that is like a lead brick in my gut. I mean, it makes me feel sick to drink Bang. Um, Currently, I don't drink any energy drinks. I'll drink a Monster every now and then, but I haven't had any in a while. ISO Roscoe 511, laughing my A off. You said black ice customers. Why do I know exactly what that means? Because everybody does. There's about 15 to 200 black ice little trees in their car. Dan's learning curve. Seriously, it's my late father's 1958 Plymouth Suburban. Oh, I guess they did have a Suburban, didn't they? He's doing a restoration project on there. If you're interested, go subscribe to his channel. Brian McFarlane, Heidi Ho. Heidi Ho. Pete says, nice haircut, shave. You're hired, LOL. Actually, I shaved. The beard grows fast. I don't know what to say. Jolly Roger, tire change, brand, type, coats. The Hunter ones are temperamental. You have to rely on Hunter service, and hopefully your Hunter service guy is good. Coats, there's lots of independent companies that'll service their equipment. I mean, Hunter makes, let me rephrase that. Hunter doesn't make any of their tire changers or balancers. They buy parts from companies and make them. I mean, I don't know what Coats, pretty sure builds all their equipment, but anyway, or their tire changers and balancers. But anyway, when it comes to service, reliability, repairability, Coats every day of the week. The other brands are going to be, Corgi. Good luck on service on those. And then the Chinese brands, hope they work. That's all I can say. Orion, Texas Twister Air Hammer Kit is the worst tool I've ever gotten off a tool truck. Never worked as promised. I did a video on that tool. Oh my God, that thing's a piece of crap. It doesn't do anything. Like, we tried every chance we could get to give that tool a chance. It never worked for like a year. I think that I know it went with him. He's now Josh that used to be in the shop. Not the current Josh, the older kid Josh. Went to work on Ferraris. Now he's moved up to New York and working on boats. Miss Carol, ever think about attaining an IT cert like SEC Plus as a secondary option since car networks are getting security conscious? I haven't thought about getting any certifications on it. But I've got servers over there and, a decent understanding of internet, networks. So kind of the same concept. DA9, yada, yada, yada. Here's an idea. Instead of looking for another job, vlog yourself building a Honda and drag race for money. If I can get Discovery Channel to back me, I'm in. Timothy Lloyd, let me back up. Miss Carol, biggest issue I had with Quadradet was the throttle shaft bushings. Yes. Yeah. Always a problem on Quadradets. And basically, if those were worn out, either send them to whatever the carburetor place that used to be here in Atlanta. They'd replace them. If if that wasn't an option, you'd buy a reman. But yeah, if those were worn out, you either had to buy the kit or get it rebuilt by somebody. Timothy Lloyds, thank for your thoughts from Australia. Cool. Definitely someplace I want to travel to at some point. Brake Flush Merchant. Did you have a mentor or did you learn most of the stuff on my own? For pre-internet, it was pretty much on my own. I did not have anybody that was really teaching me stuff, showing me things. It was pretty much I had to learn it on my own. Once, Scanner Danner got online, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from, back in the day, Eric the Car Guy. Just different perspectives on that kind of stuff. More Eric the Car Guy working on Hondas, because at that point I was less familiar with Hondas than, most of that kind of stuff, because it wasn't stuff I worked on a lot at that point. Going back a long time. But no, I've never in person. No, I've always been, as I said, up until the last couple shops, I've been the only Diag guy in the shop. So it was me or me. If I couldn't figure it out, it didn't get figured out. Zachary McLean, do you think the YouTube thing is worth the effort and time involved for technicians to get involved with? I mean, it's depends on what your end goal is. I mean, its end goal is, using it to springboard yourself into your own shop, using it to, turn yourself into the humble mechanic kind of thing. It can be. It's a lot of work. Most people do not realize how much work it actually is, especially when you're, editing 8 hours of footage into a 45 30 minute video. You have to watch 8 hours of footage. So it's entirely up to you. Miss Carol, bang, radical skedaddle for the win. Joe Mama, the videos are working. There is a certain subscriber views that is feeling some guilt. I don't know. Nicholas, the Rona hair is gone. I told the story earlier. My wife is the only one that cuts my hair at this point, and getting her to cut my hair is sometimes a pain in the butt. How to Automotive, my shop got written up by the EPA for having a bucket of carb clean without a label. Dude, it rotted everything off. You know how many of those buckets I've had to throw out because it rotted through the bottom? That was some nasty stuff. Alexander Guzman, try Prime Energy drinks. Isn't that Logan Paul's brand? Brian McFarland, hey, do you have problems with tech staying too long on an auto problem because they can't let the problem go? One of the biggest problems I've had is technicians that aren't confident enough in their diagnosis. They keep questioning themselves, and despite all the information pointing one way, and I've had other ones that it's like, dude, we're not making any money. When it comes down to it, if you can't charge the customer enough to make it worthwhile to find a problem, it's not worth it for the shop. Being a hero and going broke is not a good thing. So I usually cut techs off when they, if they can't get the customer to buy enough time to actually go in looking for this problem, just cut and leave, Val, have a good night. Say, hope Chad enjoys his dinner. Take it easy. Have a good one. Anna, hey. Judo EVs are the reason I retired from Nissan. No money in it. Jolly Roger, best tool gift for a brand new tech, school grad, $1,000 budget. Probably a good roll cart and sockets and ratchets and Torx bits and all that kind of stuff. You can get a lot for $1,000. Julius, what's up? ISO U-scope is a really good tool. Joe Mom, I remember going to the library for wiring diagrams. Yeah. Miss Carol, I went for all data to the library back there in my kid days. I remember getting wiring diagrams out of books. You know, the old the real Chilton manuals. You know, where that were like that thick and it was one model and you open it up and you're like always a greasy thumbprint where you needed to read. ISO, the best YouTube mechanic is easily Eric O. Straight up better than any auto tech, than any tech school. Still, you need the experience. Eric's a cool dude, very knowledgeable. And yes, I know Eric O. We break for squirrel. You would smell like carb dip for 3 days after using that nuclear waste. Only 3 days? I mean, you could wash with nothing but lava soap and still smell that thing for days. Ugh. Teddy, how do you make your boss understand that they are not quoting long enough because custom fabrication of brackets are involved? Document your time. Document how much time, how much money he's losing is the best way to describe it. You know, it's as simple as that. You just have to keep showing him over and over again that, you know, he's losing money. Ryan, what's up? Doing live stream. Teacher called them Bibles. Rich Thumb, is there a place in the shop anymore for a 60-year-old guy who makes about 30 hours a week, just slow but no comebacks? Probably. You have to find the right situation though. You know, I mean, you just have to find a shop that has the space and wants somebody that can turn out really good work and doesn't care about crazy production numbers out of, you know, that guy. Esoteric transmission. What is your opinion of specialized or niche technicians in a dealer or independent setting? I'm the only trans guy and like it that way. When you replace a trans customer pay, it is now warranted. I think the industry is eventually going to head to a much more specialized situation. I think a lot more techs are going to wind up getting not pigeonholed, but put into certain categories. You know, this tech does, you know, this kind of work on these kind of cars, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. As cars become more and more complex, I think general technicians are going to become less necessary, or, you know, not less necessary, but less needed. I think a lot more specialty, you know, techs will be, you know, will be coming. Power Stroke Jude, my boss is a pack rat, and we have a wall of old service manuals and Chilton motor everything. I call it the wall of knowledge, LOL. Yeah, I remember those. I actually worked at a shop that was down the road from the last shop, and he had a massive shelf of OEM Volvo service manuals. For every year he worked at the Volvo dealer, there was the manuals for that. What sucked is the car I needed two different manuals on. The air conditioning system, which was a dealer add-on, and cruise control, which is also a dealer add-on. Same car. The AC wound up being relatively easy, but I wanted a wiring diagram, so I had to do it manually. I think it was a switch or something like that, but it was, I wanted a diagram because it was too old. And then the cruise control would have really been helpful if I had that diagram, but unfortunately, scope use and figuring out how it was wired and all that, I had to, make a call on a $800 module. It wasn't really a module, but it was the control head. There was one in the United States, and I had to make that call confidently. And I was right. It fixed the cruise control, but it would have been really nice to have that damn manual because I had to figure it out by myself. ISO, do you keep in touch with any of the popular YouTube mechanics? Let's see. We got Power Stroke Jude here. How to Automotive was here. The Practical Mechanic was here. Every now and then I'll talk to Humble. I'll see. Talk to Motor City Mechanic every now and then. So yeah. Power Stroke Jude, have a good night. Appreciate it. Appreciate you joining the membership. So yeah, I keep in touch with friends of mine in the YouTube space. Orion, I just left the flat rate independent repair world after 20 years for a hourly gig at a body shop doing collision related repairs, and I rediscovered my love of auto repair. Never been happy. Cool. Miss Carol, my 18 Mitsubishi doesn't have cruise control, but my 87 F250 does. LOL. ISO, do you ever find your last shop struggling to keep up with newer models due to specialized training and or special tools? There's so much variety out there. Special tools, not so much. Training on newer stuff. We saw a lot of really new cars there. And, it got pretty bad for certain cars because there was, Volvo's no service information. On some cars, you got to look up service and it does like, yeah, pull that part out. So that was a problem. Hell, we worked on we did a bunch of oil changes on 2022s, and you go to look up oil capacity and there's nothing in all data. Our system that they use didn't have an oil spec, so you didn't even know what oil to use. Sometimes sucked. So we break for school when it went to cops, coil on plugs. There was a learning curve, but fundamentally it all It's all suck, squeeze, spang, blow. Yes. Brian McFarland. I'm a DIYer. When I deal with an alternator, etc., there's always one bolt that is hard to get to. Is it just bad engineering, or is that just how cars have been and always will be? You have to understand, cars are made to be built. Serviceability is less of a concern. They care about how fast they can build it. That's all they care about. Build it as cheaply and quickly as possible and sell it for the most amount of money. You know, I mean, every now and then they'll figure they need to do something to actually service a car. Like some Chrysler minivans had a indent in the frame because it was literally the only way you could get the water pump out. Like literally the only way you could get the water pump out is if that dent was there. Like I had one minivan that the engine mounts were completely collapsed and it was too low. So I had to jack the engine up just to get it into that indent to get the water pump out. Most times engineers don't think about that. You know, they just don't. They just care about build it as fast and cheaply as possible. So we all run into that stuff, trust me. We break for squirrel. Car industry and government invents new systems to make you buy the next best thing. The government mandates safety equipment that makes cars more expensive. The car industry has to deal with it. The car industry wants you to buy the latest, greatest. So that's just a cycle. Brian McFarland, my aunt had a Chrysler car that had to go underneath to get the battery out. Yeah, they put them in the wheel wells. Uh, ISO, my who's smarter, an engineer, an experienced master tech. Um, uh, I could tell you some stories about engineers. The boss at the last shop was an engineer. How to automotive, all data is now linking to YouTube videos. Yeah, we've talked about that. It's at least better, but a lot of the newer stuff I ran into almost no information. You know, like belt diagram, screw that. We break for school race car designer. Not even going there. Jolly Roger, if you have to replace one bad TPMS sensor, do you go OEM or aftermarket? He specifically mentions Autel. I've never used the Autel sensors, but I've had tons of problems with various aftermarket sensors. I mean, I've had cars that you could not get them to learn. You could not get them, you know, one of the last things to tell a story, Aaron that I used to work with, he put, I think it was Denso sensors in his Honda that had dead sensors. He tried my tool to try to relearn them. I helped him, still could not get it to program. We break for squirrels. The auto sensors don't last very long. Like I said, I've never used them. I always just use OEM. Brian McFarland, because the TPMS sensors live a very, 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 very rough life. And chances are, if it had a way to replace the battery at some point, that would break and fall out, and you'd have to replace the sensor anyway because the battery wouldn't retain. Trust me. Put fix a flat in there. Or rechargeable. You said rechargeable, but I thought you meant replaceable. How would you recharge them? During a tire. David Oles, have you ever had an O2 sensor code be a bad PCM? Yes. One was a PT Cruiser. The only symptom was it would set codes for the front and rear O2 sensor, and car would die. Like a watch winder for TPMS. Jason, I've had problems in domestics too. He said Hondas specifically don't like aftermarket sensors. I've found several issues with various sensors. Recharge through the brass valve stem. Just plug them up every night. That'd be interesting. Coming into the shop. Can't you just charge up my TPMS sensors real quick? I cracked myself up. So yes, bad PCMs are very common on Mopars. Little solar flags coming out of the valves, the tire stem, because those wouldn't get broke off. Yeah, no. Have you ever, David? Have you ever or thought of being a shop foreman? I was a shop foreman for 6 years. That's literally my position for the last 6 years, was shop foreman. How would you compare foreman to a mechanic? You have a lot more stuff to deal with as a foreman. A technician, all you got to do is fix cars, bring them in, diagnose them, fix them, move on to the next one. When you're a foreman, you're dealing with workflow issues in the shop, you're dealing with problems in the shop. You're helping technicians diagnose cars, you're helping technicians with, broken bolts, torching something while somebody else is trying to get it to come loose. It's just lots of different little things that you have to do. I enjoyed being a shop foreman. So I still worked as a technician. I mean, I still fixed cars. I just had a lot more stuff on top of it. Brian McFarland, what's your top 3 pet peeves concerning coworkers in the shop? All my problems were up front, and I'm not talking about that. So the more time I spend in this industry, the more I like dad jokes and drier my sense of humor gets. A YouTuber that doesn't post anymore is German but lives in Canada, and he has an extremely dry sense of humor. And he'd do these videos. I mean, he did Volkswagen and Audi stuff. Thomas EXO VCDS. That guy right there. He had very dry sense of humor, being German. He was born in Germany, and he had an extremely dry sense of humor, and he'd put out these videos, and like I'd be laughing my butt off, and a lot of his viewers wouldn't get it. So yeah, I definitely get that. I'm only 30 with no kids or even a girlfriend. Yeah, that seems to be common among 30-year-olds. No girlfriends, no spouses and no kids. We break for squirrel. That's why they invented wheel spinners. Yeah. Have you JWC Tech? Have you thought about working with Alex, the car guy in Atlanta? He's currently looking for master techs. I haven't. I don't know anything about that. Jolly Roger, what's your opinion of loss leaders to get customers in the door? Excuse me. You get crappy customers in the door. They don't work. All you get is the bottom feeder customers that don't spend money. They're just looking for the cheap stuff, and it's not a good idea. Jason LaCrue, if you were hypothetically to go work at a new car dealership, what would be your top 3 brands? Probably BMW, Volkswagen, and GM. GM, I'm really familiar with. They still pay halfway decently on their labor. Volkswagen, Audi pays good. BMW pays decent, or either that or Honda. Bear, what's going on? I would go work for Rich Rebuilds. That guy's funny as hell. ISO, do you still have your pickup truck? Was it a GMC? Yep, it's 2020 GMC Sierra. It's sitting in my driveway. What was the last car you worked on before you left? Oh, honestly, I don't remember. I trying to think about it. I don't remember what I was working on. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Uh, CDT Auto was warning methods used to be both productive and still helpful to the guys in the shop during your period as shop foreman. Efficiency. Always come to a good stopping point before you go help somebody. So before you go help them, torque that drain plug, finish putting the wheels on, etc., etc. Don't stop in the middle of doing anything. Finish your procedure was one of the biggest things, because anytime you forgot that, you either had to go back and double check yourself, or you forgot it and then had something go wrong. You got to be very, very diligent about finishing your project and then just being as efficient as possible. The comeback? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember what I did the last day. I really have not thought about it since then, and I don't know. About 2 in the morning, I will probably. Thanks. Jason LaCrue, probably a CAN network failure. No, it wasn't a CAN network. Yeah, I don't. JWC Tech would be cool if you showed up on Jude's stream later while we talk tools. I'll see if I can pop in. ISO is what's different? What's better, a Sierra or Silverado? Is there even legit differences? Interior packages, stuff like that, features, same truck basically. Really, the reason I got a GMC over a Silverado was when I bought that truck, I could find the trim level, the features I wanted. It wasn't the color I wanted, but I like the color. It's a copper bronze color, but it was just same thing. It had leather, it had heated and cooled seats. That's why I bought a GMC. It had nothing to do with whether or not it was a GMC. Cashman, you go to work for GM want an MDI? I'll sell you mine for $500. Yeah, it's doubtful I'm going to work for a dealer. Bear, can you recommend a hand cleaner? I've used whatever the shop provided, so no. That's the I haven't used a whole lot of different hand cleaners in years. The orange, fast orange was usually pretty good. Jolly Roger, pay rates for new techs is woefully inadequate. In your market area under flat rate system, what would you consider a reasonable per hour rate for a brand new tech 25? Brian McFarland, what's the best advice you ever received from a person in the industry? Check the ground. I mean, it's, you know, it goes back to that KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Have you checked the basics? You know, one of the biggest mistakes I see technicians make is skipping basics. Check the ground, check the powers. You know, before you call a PCM, check powers and grounds to the PCM. You know, it seems simple, but it's huge. JWC Tech, any new tools or tool news you can give us on a sneak peek? Nope. I haven't gotten any cool new stuff that I've heard yet. Haven't been invited to anything in Milwaukee, so we break for squirrels. Don't set tools on the car. That's how they drive off. GI Auto, or anybody forget to smash the like button? I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, KISS. It's surprising how often that is forgotten. Did you check the basics? Jolly Roger. I don't know why it's so. He's talking about the pizza party video I did. It's shown over and over and over again in studies that it does nothing. It doesn't do anything that the management thinks it does. It's literally free food and okay, go away. Jason LaCruz, that is good advice. Get good and then get fast. No point being fast if the quality isn't there. I've used that advice for many years, telling young technicians. Would you do a video with Jimmy making it work? Probably. Yeah. We break for school. I saw it as robbing your lunch hour with guilt. Yeah. I mean, Outdoors Man, what's your opinion on the best training for new automotive technicians in the automotive industry and struggling to survive? Scanner Danner, Mario, Super Mario Diagnostics, Eric O. There's so much information available nowadays that I mean, you have so many resources nowadays that I didn't have when I was coming up. Yeah, no, I mean, just there's so much information out there nowadays. ISO, my personal recommendation when trying to diag a car is a thorough visual inspection before picking up a tool. Skipping it has bit me so many times. I learned my lesson. You know how many times I did zero testing on a car after pulling codes because all I did was a visual inspection and found broken wires, damaged sensor, etc., etc. Keep it simple. Look at it. Is it there? I mean, one time I literally had a circuit code on a vent valve and looked under there and it wasn't plugged in. Another technician had done a fuel pump, by the way. So yeah. JWC Tech, especially for people who like to overthink or overcomplicate things, i.e., me. Devin McCowan, being unbiased, I'm thinking of passing to move to a full dealer tech. Independent seems more appealing. Any thoughts? It would be Ford. I'm foreman of their quick lane for the past 4 years. I mean, it's, it's a good, if, either move might be good, it might be bad. Going to an independent that sucks, it might be worse. It's just going to have to depend on your situation and the situations you're going into. Either could be a good choice or a bad choice. So, but either seems like a decent option. Jason LaCroix, I have a tech in my shop that doesn't care about their work quality, does the absolute bare minimum quality to avoid comeback. It hurts my soul as a fellow flat rater. Yes, it sucks. It's horrible going back, especially going behind that tech and seeing the stuff they, half assed, and you're like, why? Why didn't you just do that? I feel you on that one. CDT Auto, what is the one piece of advice that you believe must be told to new apprentice in this industry? It was earlier in this discussion. Work on quality. Speed will come with time. That's how I've said it. Worry about your quality first and foremost. Get good at fixing cars. Then worry about getting faster. And that will really just come with confidence and doing it. Oh, always scan. We break for squirrels. Scan, scan, scan. Always scan. Well, Jason, I appreciate it. Outdoors man, I appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by. Um, um, Jolly Roger, best oil filter. I don't like Wix. Napa is Wix. CarQuest is Wix. Up until recently, I would have said Man Filters, but we've had some quality control problems with them. But Man would be my first choice. Hanks would probably be my second choice. But again, Napa Gold is Wix, and I don't like Wix. Brian McFarland, do most auto mechanics take really good care of their own vehicles, or they drag on their maintenance? Very much depends on the person. Some very much will drag on it. Other people are meticulous. It all depends on the guy or girl. To any new guy, you will never have enough pocket screwdrivers. No. GIA Auto, pressing honeydew list. Take car. XX Cigar XX, is it realistic for me to do all my own work on a 95 Civic and a 97 3 Series BMW? Absolutely. Those are really simple cars. ISO, have a good one. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it Jason the Crew, I have a broken coil spring in my Civic that's currently sitting under my bench for the past month. I mean, yeah. I mean, we're going to put off stuff that's not, fun, but the rule of Pluto, my shop won't give me the big jobs that I recommend. I sell recently. I'm not sure why. I'm hourly and they will give it to the flat rate guy instead. They're trying to keep their flat rate guys happy, is what it is. I mean, that they want to, from a financial situation, it's better to have the hourly guy do it. I mean, it might be they don't have confidence in you, but a lot of times it's they want to feed the flat rate guys to keep them happy, is probably why it's going to them. Outdoors man, I appreciate it. But it might just be the flat rate thing that they want to keep their flat rate guys happy. Financially for the shop, it's better to have the hourly guy do it, but Raging Cajun Garage, would you rebuild a 4L60 or upgrade to a 4L80? 4L80 every day of the week. XX Cigar started doing electrical work. What tools do you think are 100% required? I'm just starting to fix some electrical stuff with the BMW. Test light, incandescent test light, with a bulb, not a LED, not a computer one. Definitely a DVOM, a good set of wire strippers and crimpers, the marine style butt connectors that are with shrink tubing on them. Those will make good wiring repairs. Unless you want to get soldering equipment, but yeah, that kind of stuff will be probably the big ones, and then a wiring diagram. CDA, a CDT auto. I personally do the bare minimum to get by. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. But the kid needs diapers. I understand that. Back probes. He's talking 100% required. Back probes you don't need. You can go to the sewing section and get T-pins. They're like nothing for a bunch of them. Jolly Roger, best aftermarket brake pads for an F250 Akabono. Digital Cigar says, I bought a soldering station already, have a decent multimeter. What's a DVOM? Digital volt ohm meter. Multimeter. Same thing. It's just it's just different nomenclature. So Julius Jones says heat gun for shrink tubing. Yeah. Heat gun can be bought pretty cheap as well. Trigger warning, but piercing is a lot better. Piercing is actually a lot better for integrity of the signal, especially when you're using a scope. Just seal the dang hole. How small of a wire would you trust piercing probes on? Other than really, really small, yeah, liquid tape is your friend. Other than really, really, really small wiring that, the needle is about the same size as the insulation, I would not do that. But you know, anything bigger than what 18 gauge, you're probably fine on. Mudhead, power probe is really helpful, but be sure you understand the circuit. Yes. Power probe is a useful tool unless you don't understand how to use it. Yeah, cigar, yeah. Lots of different Julius Jones. BMW uses breakout boxes. Yeah, they don't like probing. Yeah, well, welcome to the real world. Yeah, tools are definitely required, but certainly knowledge is the most important thing. The rule of Pluto. I'm doing Toyota electrical training. What experience do you have with Toyota electrical system and any advice? Toyota electrical systems are for the most part pretty straightforward. The information will translate to a lot of different makes and models. So they're, I mean, they're really not difficult systems to understand. Just take the basics that they give you and you'll learn a lot. Jolly Roger, I appreciate it. I use black liquid tape to fit small cuts in my black vinyl armrest in my car. It's got a breaker. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's really small gauge, back probe. Yeah, like you can watch a lot of Scanner Danny has a lot of content about basic electrical, so you can learn tons from him. So all right. Think I'm gonna call it here. Fuse jumper, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and call it here so we can I can hear my daughter's dog at the door kind of wanting to go outside, so I'm going to go ahead and say good night to everybody. I appreciate you stopping by. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.